For now. Hello, thank you for being here. I am Clint Baker, the Director of Schools here in Meigs County. I'm going to speak to you today about a very, very tragic event. Our hearts are heavy, and they will be for some time. We have students who are very sad and grieving. We have faculty who are grieving, and we have a grieving community in our entire county. And you know, I can take that a step further. Our entire southeast core region, which encompasses 13 counties, they've all reached out last night. They've reached out today. They've been instrumental in advice and things. Some of them have been through certain things that mirror what we're going through, and they've been outstanding help in giving us suggestions. Our school community, wonderful and dedicated employee, and most importantly, a friend to our schools and children. And we also lost a beautiful little seven-year-old girl. Our staff was on the scene at the school, and some of the staff at the accident site, and also went to the hospitals to be with families. I'm sorry. We came together to hold each other up. You know, we've had an outpouring of love and concern and offers for assistance from this area, across the state, across the nation, actually. Your heart during a lot of the things that we've been going through as a nation, to be a part of that, and to have that kind of support. And we will need that for some time to come. I also want to recognize that our State Department of Education is here today in support of us, in support of all kids, but today they're in support of Meigs County, and we really appreciate that. I really want to express sincere gratitude to Hamilton County Director of Schools Brian Johnson and his staff for meeting us at the hospital last night when our kids were brought, and stayed with us there till about 1 o'clock in the morning. He didn't have to do that, and they had been through it as a staff recently and had a lot of great advice and a lot of good ideas and information to share. Brought us food, just outstanding. Today was designated as a remote learning day, so students were not in the building today. We deployed our crisis response team to Meigs South. We're dealing with Meigs South Elementary at our lower end. And they were there to meet with teachers and several students who came in today just to talk. We also had a member of the Jefferson County Schools crisis team with us for support. A member of the Tennessee Crisis Response Network was on site and met with our bus drivers this afternoon. The Tennessee Highway Patrol was also with our bus drivers at that time. So today we've met with our staff at Meigs South, Principal Rachel Moore and her staff down at the school. We had a good, long, heartfelt meeting that was much needed. We then met with our staff, and we have a lot of drivers hurting as well. We've got a hurt community, a hurt school community, and we're going to need everybody's prayers and support to get everybody back where they need to be. I want to, last night, dealing with last night, I do want to thank all the first responders, all the emergency personnel, all the law enforcement from our county and city, to the state folks, the THP, and our faculty and staff that showed up at the site and were a huge, huge help. You don't realize until you go through something like this just how many of those folks and how far they come from. We had folks that were instrumental, not just Meigs County Fire and Rescue, but we had Ray County, McMinn County, Hamilton County was instrumental. We had help as far away as Sevier County. Really appreciate that. Tomorrow, we will have a counselor on the bus route that was impacted. We will also have counselors at the school, students and community. We very well may have staff, extra staff on each bus. We will be in touch, and we'll the Tennessee Crisis Response Network, the American Red Cross, and the United Way of McMinn and Meigs County, who has been instrumental in already fundraising and raising support for our families that have been touched by this. The McMinn and Meigs, United Way has been out for us. There will be other support opportunities made available for the community to help, and that information will be released as soon as we have that available for you. At this time, the only information that we have on the students is that they remain in the hospital. There's 4 in the hospital at this time, and they remain in stable condition. We have 1 student who was listed last night as critical but stable, and I do not have specific information on any student conditions beyond that. I will say this, everyone's hearts and minds and thoughts and prayers, and children of the affected, and especially those that lost loved ones. We ask that in the last 18 hours or so, we ask that folks pray that God's grace, His amazing grace, and His love and comfort will surround those families. We know that students, faculty, and community will be affected by this event in many different ways for a long period of time. And it's important in addressing this that we return to normalcy as soon as we can. And as we were leaving Meigs South earlier today, a young first grade student was there to talk and was leaving the building with his grandmother, and he stopped and looked up to his teacher and said, "I'm coming to school tomorrow and I'm riding the bus." So, with that, I'll take any questions, or I'll try to answer your questions as best I can. Yes, sir.
Thank you for having us out. I can't imagine the last day has been for you. Do you have any information on the age range of the other students who were injured in the bus?
Yeah, youngest was 7. There was I don't know the exact age of the high school student, but there was a high school student injured as well.
And you talked about kind of the support for the families of students. What has been the reaction from other students at the school? You mentioned the first graders today.
Yeah, we can go back to last night. When I got there, I got the call there about 3:45, 3:50, and headed straight there from the office. And when I got there, there were high school students and middle school students caring for the young ones. Sorry, I'm emotional, but if you could have seen it, you would understand. Taking care of them with some emergency folks that were already there, but that concern was there for them. Like I said, today was a remote learning day, so there probably hasn't been a lot of contact with high school students today or middle school students today, but it was once you get, and maybe on your drive home from all this, you think back to that and realize what was happening with those kids.
Sir, you mentioned the employee as well, longtime employee. How long?
Well, she wasn't for us, she'd been with us 3 years, and she was outstanding. outstanding driver, outstanding person. I guess the best way to describe that is an outstanding driver, but an even better person. We will miss her. She's irreplaceable.
At this point, are you releasing any names?
We can't do that at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Baker, last night report shows 7 students rather, were sent to the hospital. You just said 4 remain hospitalized, so does that mean 3
Have been released.
have been released?
Yes, sir.
Can we say where those 4 are at this time? Are they spread out? Are all 4 at Erlanger, or are they?
They're in Chattanooga. Mhm.
Next question. Was this bus going on a normal route?
Yes.
Where was it going?
It was traveling south on Highway 58, probably about half a mile, about almost a mile north of Lamontville Road. You probably passed that on your way. You probably passed the site on your way in.
Okay. And has there been any indication of drugs or alcohol involved with either driver?
But not that I'm aware of.
Was there anyone in the other vehicle besides the driver? Do you know? Okay. Did the bus have seatbelts?
No.
Do you know if the NTSB will be investigating this?
Yes.
Yeah.
That they are currently buses in Chattanooga at TDOT, and they are working on that today.
And do you know if the driver of the utility truck has been interviewed?
Like I said, you'd have to check with THP on that.
Sir, help me understand. There was a high school student on the bus. Meigs South.
And folks leave town, which would be the middle school and the high school, and connect to the south school and the north school.
Okay.
So there would be a mix of ages on the bus.
And this bus in particular was leaving from the south end.
It had left south and was traveling south. Yes.
Can you talk about the support you're getting from the state level, what they're offering, and then also what's the plans for any of those students and people on the bus that don't want to come to school for the rest of the week?
Gotcha.
Maybe having,
Sure. First of all, the state. I was sharing that with the commissioner a little while ago. That during all this, I guess you all have experienced it since you've been in our county a lot the last 2 days. Cell service is not the greatest, especially at Meigs South Elementary and just south of there, probably all the way to the Hiawassee Bridge. So, commissioner had reached out to me during the whole ordeal while it was going on, but I didn't get the call because my phone was dead because of the cell service. So they reached out immediately. If you noticed, put out last night. They've been very supportive, offered anything we need, asked what we need, and right at this point, we really don't have anything to tell them what we need because we're still dealing. We're still dealing with all this, analyzing what exactly needs to be our next step moving forward. So I really don't know what to tell them or anybody that's asking for that right now because we are getting help in all kinds of directions, both at the South School and at the central office. As far as kids, this is a different year that we're in than what we all would probably have all experienced in our school days. So it is, if they need to be at home, I'm certainly not going to stand in that way and make sure they come to school. They are going to be some grieving, and kids may have a hard time getting on a bus. We understand that completely. It's going to take time, and we want to encourage them to come if they need to talk to somebody, that's for sure, because we're going to have lots of help there. But no, it's one of those years where we're going to be able to do whatever we need to do as far as those kids staying out. They've got other options. We've got 3 options for them actually, and I mentioned today was a remote learning day, and they can do that for several days.
Meigs County is one of those places where everybody pretty much knows everybody.
Sure.
day has progressed, how are you holding up? How are your administrative staff? How's the teachers overall within the county holding up?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. Because we focus a lot on the kids, and you know, we've got a staff that is hurting. We got a staff. We're all holding up. I mean, you know, you learn a lot about yourself when you go through these kind of things, and I think a lot of us did, because you whether you admit it or not, you probably go into a little bit of shock, and as you try to figure out what to do next. And I'm just being completely honest with you. Those are things that that went through my mind and everybody else's that was out there. Our principal at Meigs South Elementary, Rachel Moore, has done a fantastic job with her staff of making sure that they are taken care of and that they are communicated with. There was probably, just an estimate, 8 to 10 of the staff was at the hospital with her all night. The whole rest of the staff at Meigs South, because we actually transported kids back to South, and they were there to meet them and greet them and take care of them. And we had folks from our central office that actually went and basically triaged them again. They had already been triaged on site, and triaged them again and waited for parents to come and get them, and were there. You know, when I left South last night, probably about 9 o'clock or just after 9, I met with whoever was there and talked things through, and then went down to the hospital. We're holding in. I mean, we're holding in. We're doing fine.
People are watching this, Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga. They want to send cards if you need anything. What's the best way for them to reach out to you and to the district to offer any help or anything they can do?
Yeah. We have tried to, right now, we've tried to send everything through the Meigs McMinn United and utilize them and their services, and that they've been a big help. So that would probably be what I would say is send things through the McMinn Meigs United Way. Cards and things like that can go to the school, can go to the central office, you know, but as far as monetary donations and those kind of things, we can send through the United Way.
Mr. Baker, just to kind of get a little bit of a timeline, I think I understand this route went from the high school to North Middle to South Elementary, and then was on its way to drop off students. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would you say the time earlier when this would have occurred?
The accident occurred right around 3:50 in the afternoon. Yes. Give or take a minute.
Next question?
The fact that there were people who were older to assist in something like this.
Yes.
I mean, you guys, I can imagine, and for lack charge in that moment where you have to make a decision and something like that happens.
Sure. Those older kids were fantastic. When I got there, there was several of the older kids holding some of the younger kids, holding, you know, for lack of a better term, Band-Aid material on their arms and things, along with some of the emergency folks that had arrived on the scene as well. But yeah, to answer your question, it was really nice to see those folks, and we were thankful that they were on the bus with them.
So how many total were on the bus?
How many total were on the bus? That number has grown today to 32.
Were there any other adults? Talk to folks who are trying to raise money if they can, be first responders. Is it nice to know that in this county we have people who are willing to step up and help during a time of tragedy?
Yes, ma'am. You know, been here a long time, and been at this school 27 years, 30 years in the system, and our county always steps up when there's something that happens, a tragedy similar to this, especially dealing with children. it's a great place to live. It's a great place to live and a great place to raise your kids. I don't know that I would want to have mine anywhere else. We live in a community that is somewhat sheltered from a lot of things that go on in bigger places, and for that, obviously things like this. But the county, it's a great place to be because people pitch in and care.
So you may not have the answer for this, but just for logistical reasons, do we know where the bus is at this time?
It's in Chattanooga. They hauled it down there to, I'm not sure, is Mr. Roberts in here? Do you know exactly where they hauled that bus?
Not exactly, but it's in the custody of the Tennessee Highway Patrol.
Okay.
Baker probably splitting hairs, but you said 32. Is that 32 students and driver?
32 students, driver would be 33.
Next question?
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Director, do you have any final remarks?
Just pray for our community. Pray for our community, pray for our kids and our families, and also pray for our staff and teachers and our drivers. Like I said earlier, we're a hurting bunch right now. All the support and prayers that we can muster up, and just pray for God's grace to be on all of us and feel His comfort and support. And that's all. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.